welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be filming my February TBR. You might notice that for the last 2-3 videos I've been wearing the same outfit. It's because I've got so much to do these next few weeks that I'm not going to have time to record. So I figured I'd film a good like 3-4 videos in advance and we can go from there. So yeah, if you don't like me dressed like this, you're free to skip the next 3-4 videos and just move on to the next one. Whatever you guys want to do. So the first book I'm going to be reading is A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is part of our book club. It's the first book in A Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas, and it is basically about Freya and her ability to survive, which depends heavily on her ability to hunt and kill. And then she basically gets captured, and I don't really know all that much about it. I'm just reading the synopsis on my Goodreads. Yeah, I don't really know too much about it because I don't want to know. I want to go into this series completely oblivious. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this series. So people are saying this is their favourite series compared to her Throne of Glass series. So I don't know how true that is, but at least the people that I've been listening to tend to say that. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. This is part of our book club, like I said. So yeah, we're just going to see how it goes. I think we've got a 2-week period to read it, so we've got to read it by the, I can't remember, but from 2 weeks on this Monday, which I think is the 5th, we have to read, we're going to sit and have our book talk about it. So I might do a segment on each of my videos where I talk about the books that we're doing for our book club, but again I need to make sure it's okay with them guys. So yeah, moving on to the next one, which is part of my current reads video, but I'll include it because this was going to be part of my January TBR anyway. So as you guys can guess, as part of the Dreg Society is to read City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare, which is part of the Immortal Instruments series. This is the second book in the series and it has to be read by the 17th of February. Because I think it's the 17th of February. I won't tell you too much about what this book is about because most of you either know or you need to read the first book. But the first book is basically about this girl called Clary Frey, who basically finds out that she's part of this shadow world, and on the day that she wants to confront her mum about all the secrets she's been keeping, her mum is taken. Okay, her mum is taken. They don't know by who. They can only guess. And yeah, it's just this brilliant world full of vampires, warlocks, werewolves, fae, shadow hunters, and it's just a mixture of everything everyone I ever know loves about fantasy. And yeah, this one kind of continues on from where the last book left off. I think there's about a 3-week gap between the end of the last book and the beginning of this one. So I'm really excited to finish this. I have already read it before, so it is a reread. Next book for our readathon, which will start during February, so I'll add this to our February TBR, is a classic. So basically what we did for our book club is we created 7 genres. And we had about 7 books for each genre, 6 or 7 books for each genre, and we did polls on Facebook, we voted on which one we'd all rather read, and then we would read that book, and we've edited the timeline so that everyone could kind of read along if they want to. It's meant to be quite freeform, so if we decide we don't want to read a book one month, we won't. But so yeah, obviously the first category we picked was fantasy, and all of us picked A Court of Thorns and Roses. But the next one, which will start 2 weeks into February, is a classic. I think the classic was put so early up because we wanted to make it a book that was easily accessible, so that if any of the books in the later categories still needed to be bought by some people, there was time to raise the money and to buy the books. So the classic book we picked was Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I've never read this before. Like, I bought it because it was like really cheap on the Waterstones website when I was buying the rest of the Shadowhunter series. So I just thought it would be worth adding it to my collection. I've always wanted to read it. I've even never seen the film, which some people go like, what? But yeah, I've never seen the film, I've never read the book. I'm not even 100% sure what Pride and Prejudice is about. I just know that everybody loves Mr. Darcy and that is about it. I know there's about 1,000 films related to this. There's 1,000 adaptations. whether it be in book form or in, I know there's also an adaptation called Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Yeah, I just bought this kind of mass market paperback. So this is from Wordsworth Classic. It's literally just a paperback, and the writing is quite small, so despite its size it's going to be quite a long read. I mean, it's even got the occasional illustration. So yeah, I'm just really excited to see what happens with this. But yeah, I don't know if I'll finish this in February, but that's kind of my plan, to see kind of where we can get to. So I mean, I'm probably going to struggle with this because it is such tiny fonts, and I really struggle with tiny fonts, but we shall see. And then I'm not really sure what else I want to read. I want to finish all the books that are on my currently reading list. Yeah, that's kind of it for my TBR. It's not that long, but with the amount of books I'm reading, after reading so many books in January, I kind of want to slow down a bit because I'm so far behind on all my TV shows and whatever else. So I think I'm just going to leave it at those 3 books, but knowing me, it will probably be a lot more than that because I tend to get really sucked into books. I'm going to now talk about what I'm currently reading. So I think it says on my Goodreads I'm currently reading like 5 books, but the books I'm actually picking up at least once every couple of days and actually reading is the ones I'm going to talk about now. But if you want to check out what books I'm reading that aren't on this video, my Goodreads down below. As any other in my social media, I tend to talk about the books I'm currently reading in that as well. So firstly, as part of the read along, as you could probably guess, is City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare, part of the Mortal Instruments series. Now this was my least favourite book when I first read the original trilogy, which is as far as I've read ever in this series. And then Emma came out with the read along, so I decided to go back and read them from the beginning. So I am only 43 pages into this. I haven't picked it up in a couple of days, but I am doing a readathon with my book club that I do, which is with about 10 different people from the Dreg Society group. It's a closed group because we've all become really good friends, and we just decided that we wanted to keep it quite small. So like the 10 of us will be reading as much as we can this weekend. So my plan is to probably try and finish this, or at the very least read more of this. Although we have got till the 17th of February, so I'm not overly concerned if I don't finish. Next I'm currently reading is Because You Love to Hate Me. Now I started reading this during my before I go into that, I wanted to show you this. I don't know if you can see that. It says previously in this book some stuff happens, and I just love that. One of my best friends got it for me for Christmas with my books that she got me, so I'm really in love with this bookmark. But anyways, back to the book. This is, so I started reading this during my 24 and 48 readathon, which I've still got to edit and upload. So hopefully by the time you guys see this video, I should have finished this book, and my 24 and 48 video should be up. It's not that interesting a vlog. It's literally just me updating you guys from time to time. It is really not that exciting, but I will upload it anyway. So but this is, most of you should know what this is anyway. If you're part of the booktube community, most of you will know, but if you don't, it is basically where 13 authors have come together with 13 booktubers to make 13 tales of villainy. So some of them are brand new, some of them you would never have heard of, some of them are twists on classics. So for example, there's a story in here about Ursula from The Little Mermaid, there's a story in here about Sherlock, there's a story in here about Medusa, and then there's also like a few, there's one here about Guinevere, Arthur and Lancelot. So, and it's basically the idea of the stories is to give you another idea of what villains are like why they're villains. And there's a quote in here that I think just sums it up perfectly, so I'll just read this. And it says, "Evil in many cases is a matter of perspective, and society tends to villainize things they don't understand, such as female independence. Sometimes true evil isn't understood until it's too late, but sometimes, if we're lucky, it is immortalized as a lesson for others. Folklore is funny that way." And I found that quote to summarize what this book is about. It's basically about misunderstood villains. Now that quote is written by Reagan, who is Peru's Project. She's from the Peru's Project channel on YouTube. I will try and leave her channel down below. So basically you get a story and then you get 2-3 pages where the booktuber will write a few lines themselves. Now what I have been doing is I have been rating each individual story as I go, and I have been writing little reviews. Now my plan is to make a video for this book because I think it deserves to be talked about. I've not really read too many books about misunderstood villains. Like, I tend to focus on the protagonist and the hero, and they tend to be the stories I tend to lean towards, but it's nice to get a change and to see something a bit different, especially in YA. Now some of these stories I didn't find that great. Some of these stories I found fantastic. It really just... oh no, I've lost my page. My bookmark came out. No! Where am I? Oh. It's a good thing I read you that quote. Now I know exactly where I am. So yeah. So each story is very hit and miss. It comes down to personal preference. So far my favourite story is by Marissa Meyer, but again that shouldn't surprise anybody because she is becoming one of, if not my favourite author of all time. She is just, her writing is just so engrossing and I love it. So yeah, I'm about 3 hours into The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. I'm really enjoying it so far. It's basically about what happens to all those side characters that aren't the heroes of their stories, aren't the main protagonist in the story, aren't destined to be anything great or anything like that. I'm really enjoying it. It's got a lot of heavy topics in it that I wasn't quite expecting. Like there's something about a character having arrhythmia and having a heart attack and all the kind of the issues with that. There's stuff about anorexia and OCD conditions, like the constantly washing of your hands and all of the issues that these characters kind of have. There's no real plot to it thus far as I can see. Like, there's no real kind of direction as to where it goes. The only thing I've really noticed is that this main character has, I think his name is Mike, has this crush on his best friend called Hannah, and it's all about him trying to pluck up the courage to tell her that he loves her. That is about as much as I've sussed from the plot, but otherwise it just seems to be a story about life, like a snippet of life type story, and I'm really enjoying it. It's probably going to be one of those books that I read quite slowly. Next is a book called Queer There and Everywhere by Sarah Praga, something like that. Again, sorry with names, I'm terrible with them. And it is a non-fiction book, and it is basically about queer and people of the LGBTQ plus community, and all of their influences on history, whether you know it or not. So each chapter or each segment of the book kind of talks about a different person throughout history, what struggles they went through, what they kind of added into, what they've contributed to their society and the society we have today. I'm not overly that far into it, but I'm actually really enjoying it. Like, let me see if I can. There's 23 people who changed the world, and I'm really excited to read it because I'm always interested to read things about things that I don't necessarily understand. The same to them, but I'm always interested to see about stuff like this because you never really get to see these sorts of people in the limelight. You tend to see all of the kind of or at least this aspect of them isn't always in the limelight. Like, I think one of the chapters is about Albert Einstein, about how he was openly gay, or I might be completely wrong with that, I might have misinterpreted that, but that's kind of one of the pieces of information I kind of read from it. So I'm really interested to see. Now, this book is the one I've been reading on my iPad, because I tend to, when I'm on my iPad, I tend to go off on tangents, I tend to listen to music and read, so yeah, I wanted something that was not going to suck me in, but I could sit there and read it for 10 minutes if I felt bored, because I was waiting for my Candy Crush lives to level up, or whatever it was. So I'm really enjoying that. I think I'm only about 30 pages into the actual physical, the actual ebook. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm reading that. And then the last book I'm currently reading is a book by the name of Fludis Rising, and it is by Margot something like that. I may have just butchered that name. And this is a book I got sent for review on literary things, and I've been so slow to read it. It's quite bad. I should really just get on with it. So I really just need to buckle down with it. But again, I've only been given the ebook version, and I'm very slow to read ebooks unless I'm really engrossed in them. So far it is about this girl who basically finds out that she's part of this society where everybody kind of has different powers. And I'm only on like chapter 2, so I don't fully understand it yet. Like, there's still so much I don't know. Basically, she's been told that her dad's been killed, her grandma's told her to pack and they've got to run away, and basically she's got some incredible power that could end up stopping some sort of evil overlord person. And it's very typical of YA, kind of paranormal thriller type series. It is a series, so I think once I get into it, the bulk of the story, I might enjoy it. But for now, I've had, like, with the Lunar Chronicle series kind of just taking over my life, I haven't had a chance to sit down and actually read. So, and also I tend to read ebooks at work, like when I've got 10 minutes to myself. So I might try and start doing that again. So I just don't know. My plan is to work on my currently reading list during my readathon. Because I need to cut it down. If I'm going to be doing this book club, I need to have a manageable amount of books, and I just never seem to have a manageable amount of books. It always seems like I'm reading 10 at a time, so what can you do? But yeah, let me know what you guys are planning on reading in February. Are you reading in this month? Let me know what you think of all the books that I'm reading. Let me know how shocked you are that I've never read Pride and Prejudice. And yeah, I will speak to you guys in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe. I will leave all my social media down below as usual, and I will see you later.